Hello, everybody, and welcome to this exciting episode of the Joyful Money podcast. I am super excited to the thousand degree. The reason why is because I have a very special guest for you today. My special guest is Kelly Kumler. She is just an amazing businesswoman, business owner, and an amazing mom as well, because I've been following her on Instagram for a while now, and I see the amazing things she's doing. She's also a brand strategist, and she's here to teach us how to build a reputable brand, a memorable brand that will help us sign more clients. Welcome to the show, Kelly.
Thank you, Joy. Make me, that was like really hyping me up. So thank you for having me.
I love it. Like, even just looking at your Instagram, your branding is just top notch. And I'm so grateful to have you here today because I know that a lot of people in my audience are running their business, they're solopreneurs, and what you teach is absolutely valuable to them. So I'm so excited to dive in. So first of all, why don't you introduce yourself to my audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as Joy said, my name's Kelly. I own a business called Kelly Ryan Co., and we focus on brands, websites, and SEO. So, I'm actually a former teacher. I was an elementary school teacher for 7 years before leaving the classroom and kind of just figuring out what I was going to do next. I had started a previous business in stationery design. And so that's what really led me back into design, but without the print side of things. And I really loved the creative pieces to design, but I also like missed the like strategy and the logic and the and analytics that go into business. So that's where I really started getting into brand design and brand strategy and website strategy, and then that eventually led me into SEO as well.
Wow, I love that so much. Now I know why you are so amazing. Like when you said you were an elementary school teacher. Now I see why you're able to break complex things down in a very easy to understand way. Like when I go on your Instagram, I learn a lot from your posts. So now I see where that's coming from. Okay. So tell us about branding, SEO, and how, in your experience, especially with all the amazing clients you've worked with, why do you think a lot of business owners struggle with this aspect of their business?
Yeah, absolutely. So it really does all start with your brand. When we're talking about separate aspects like brand and SEO, I get a lot of people ask, what needs to come first? And almost always it is going to be your brand. SEO is something that will come a lot easier once you have an established brand. So for going back to like what that brand is and why it's so important, it's really the thing that's going to be setting you apart. And I don't just mean your visuals, not just your logos and your colors, but your brand should also be your entire like marketing platform. This is the foundation of how you're showing up online, where you're showing up, what platforms are your ideal clients going to be on. And part of your brand is going to be that brand strategy where we're really under or uncovering, where and who are your ideal clients.
Wow, I love that so much. So I believe many people listening are just like me. So I have done everything myself, my website, my branding. Well, I don't think I call it branding, but I just like put things together. So then how would you start helping somebody like me to like start to make everything look more professional?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of us start in that DIY place. And honestly, I think that you kind of have to. Like, you need to take the time to really get into your business and learn more about what makes you different and what kind of people you like to work with before you invest into a full brand strategist or, working with someone on a professional level. So when you are in that DIY phase, I think the best things that you can do is one, pay attention to how you do things and what you notice that sets you apart, or what are people telling you do differently. And then also, what kind of clients or customers do you like to work with? Who are they? Where have you found them? What makes them different? And trying to pull those things together can then really set the tone for visually, making sure that you are coming across cohesively across all platforms, right? So whether that's colors or even the way that you are speaking or communicating should sound and look similar from your emails to your Instagram posts to your podcasts that you're featured on, all of the platforms that you're showing up on. Having that consistency is what really makes you start looking more professional.
Wow, thank you so much for that. So then, in your experience, what would you say is the definition of a brand or branding? What does that really mean?
Yeah, I think that a brand can, I mean, you ask any designer or any brand strategist, they're probably going to tell you some different version of similar things. But to me, a brand encompasses your entire business's identity. So both the visual identity, logos, colors, fonts, maybe patterns and graphics, your photos that you use or video content probably coming from a brand photo shoot, or even if you're using, stock photos, those should all have a cohesiveness and be tied together in a way that feels like these are all part of one unit. But then with that should also be the entire message and personality behind your brand, your brand voice, the message that you're sharing, your unique point of view within your industry. So all of those parts are really what make up your brand.
Gosh, thank you for that because that really clarified a lot in my brain. So then someone is listening right now and they're like, okay, I want to start looking at my branding more. How would you explain to us the benefit of having a recognizable and memorable brand? How would you associate that with the growth of a business? Because sometimes many business owners, like maybe we are focused on running ads or doing Instagram posts, but I want them to be very clear about the benefit of branding. Now, we're going to go into SEO in a minute because that's one of the things you help your clients with. But on branding, how can we associate that with business growth?
Yes. So when you think about marketing, marketing isn't like buy this from me, buy this from me. It is when you think of this, you think of me. So that really is going to come down to your brand and what is making you recognizable and what messages are you putting out that are making people think, oh, I heard this on a podcast and it made me think of Kelly or it made me think of Joy. For if you have seen my brand, like Joy, I know you have, I have like waffles and there's like all these breakfast themed item things in there, which seems so random. But it started with me posting something of like breakfast with my kids and they had Eggo waffles out. And suddenly people were commenting on it and sending me things like, oh, I saw this, waffle recall, thought of you. And so it's the most simple little things, but it then started tying back to me. So I decided, why not lean into this all the way? And now it is totally something that comes up in conversations all the time where people are like, oh, this made me think of you. And whether it's related to my services or not, I'm on top of their minds so that when they are thinking of my service or they are thinking about what I offer, hopefully my name is going to still come up in the front. And that's really what branding does for your business. It should be the thing that helps people like stick, it helps your name stick in their minds so that when they need that service or when someone is asking them for what you offer, your name comes to their mouth.
Wow, I love that so much that accidentally you just leaned into the branding with the waffles, and I think it's so beautiful on your Instagram and all of your branding, which is I love it so much. So
Thank
then,
you.
like on a website, what are the key elements from a branding perspective that people should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, within your website, like your website's probably one of the biggest showcases of your brand. So if you are rebranding, that's always something to think about is like, then you are going to have to go into your website and at least make some updates. So those like key pieces that we should see are, of course, the basic visual elements. The colors need to be the same, the fonts need to be the same, and your images should be the same. But then even just like the styling and the words that you're using, those go into again how your entire brand, this like ecosystem of your brand is being represented. So everything within your website is going to be back connected back to who your brand is and what it stands for and who it's speaking to.
Okay, I love this so much. Now, I'm a very, I want to say visual, but I can visualize in my mind. And I want you to kind of do an exercise with us. Take us through a before and after. So let's say, well, obviously, I don't want you to like maybe mention clients. Maybe you're not allowed to mention clients, but I want you to paint a picture of a typical client when they come to you with their branding. And then after working with you, how does their branding look like? I know that like pictures are better, but if you can just talk us through so we can mentally visualize what the difference is, I think that will really help listeners.
Yeah, for sure. So recently I worked with a wedding planner, and she really wanted this like elegant look to her brand and to her website. And she had worked with, other designers in the past trying to find some combination of the fonts and colors and logos, but she couldn't quite like get it right. And one thing that she had mentioned in our initial call was that she really liked these like blue color palettes, but she couldn't figure out a way to make it work with all of the images that she had on her website and like how she was so stuck on that like elegant and classy needed to be neutral and nude. And so we worked together to use some really like beautiful script fonts as a part of her logo and part of her website, with really clean like serif fonts, which if you're not familiar with what font types are, like just ignore that part of it. But we had some like really pretty kind of handwritten and then some really clean and more structured fonts combined together. And then the color palette, we ended up including some different versions of blues, more like navy, and then like a almost mint blue with like a lighter sage green, and then including some neutrals in there as well. And so putting that into her website, then, she was like, this is exactly what I was trying to do. And I couldn't figure out how to actually do it. And that is really the job of your brand designer or strategist, is to get into your head and kind of help you get around that thing that you're feeling stuck on.
Wow, I love this so much. So then how long does the process take for you to understand, get into their head and like actually I want to say breathe life into their ideas, even ideas that cannot really communicate well. How long does that process take from doing all of that to get having everything ready for people to admire and love?
Yeah, so typically the before the actual design part, it's about a week or two where I have clients like fill out a really in-depth questionnaire, and then from that, I take all of their answers and start building their brand strategy out of it. We usually then get on a call to meet and go over that strategy. And typically on that call is when they're like, oh my gosh, these are the words I was trying to think of, and I couldn't figure out how to like say that's what I do or tell people this is who I am. And so from there, we'll then look at some design inspiration together. And then it's about a 2 week process for the brand design. Now, then we add an additional week on for website if you're going to go into getting the website done for you as well. But one thing that has just been so important to me in my business, and I've done this now for 3 years and kind of done different variations of it, but I found that working with one client at a time, particularly once we get to that website point, is so important for me so that I can just really dedicate my time to that client's website and their work and be fully immersed in their brand and what they are trying to portray. So I do it on a shorter timeline. The websites are almost always within a week, unless you're adding on additional pages or features. But it's because you get that really dedicated time for you.
Oh gosh, I love this so, so much, Kelly. And even just speaking to you, I can feel your passion for this, and I can tell like this is your love, your passion. And because I speak to many people every day, some people are kind of just doing the thing because they want to pay the bills, right?
Mhm.
But I can see the joy and excitement in your face as you talk about branding and how you help your clients. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. So I
Thank
want to
you.
go to SEO now because I feel like SEO is one of the pieces that so many people are missing out on. So if you don't know what SEO is search engine optimization, but Kelly is the expert, so I'll let her explain. Over to you, Kelly.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so like Joy said, search engine optimization, it basically is a set of rules that search engines follow so that they can make sure that they are providing the best content to their users. So the biggest search engine really is Google, right? That's the one we refer to the most. However, search engines can, be Google, Bing, Pinterest, YouTube, and now even different AI search platforms. So they all might have a slightly different algorithm that they're using to determine what the best content is, but generally, we kind of stick to the same set of rules so that we can make sure our content is really meeting the needs of the people that are looking for it. So, this is how you get your website to show up when someone's searching something on Google that is related to what you do.
Great. So then, without divulging all of your amazing industry secrets, can you give us some tips about how to ensure that our website is set up for SEO optimization?
Yes, absolutely. So I always say, like, start with keyword research. There's different tools you can use. I usually use one called Uber Suggest. That's kind of my starting point. And they have a free version. So you can always start there. And they have a option where you can go in and you look for a keyword. So for example, if I'm working, I'll again think of like the wedding planner that I was working with, and searching for like wedding planner in the Bay Area or something, some kind of keyword that's related to who she is and what she does. And then Uber Suggest is going to give me a few numbers, and I'm really paying attention to two numbers in particular, which is the volume and the SEO difficulty. So the volume would be how many people are searching for that term every month. And the SEO difficulty is how much competition is there to rank for that term, or how difficult is it going to be to rank. So you want something that has a high volume and then a low difficulty. So you're really looking for a set of keywords that fall into that high volume, low difficulty category that you can use throughout your website. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see is people using one keyword all over their website on every page, every spot that I can think of, when really we should be focusing on a different keyword for each page of our website or each blog post. Each page you're thinking is its own piece of content that can be served on Google. So we want to think of each page individually.
Thank you so much for that. So then you mentioned AI. How does that impact the effectiveness of SEO? I asked that because up until now, most of my searches have been on Google. But recently, I've just been using ChatGPT for all of my searches. So how does that impact the effectiveness of SEO?
Yes. So what we're finding is that search has changed a little now, but really the rules and the practices are the same. So if you are creating content that is answering specific questions that people might ask, then you are more likely to show up within things like ChatGPT. Typically when we go to ChatGPT, we are asking a question. Help me find a brand and website designer, something that is or that works with female entrepreneurs, something specific to what you do. And if you don't have content that is specifically answering that question, ChatGPT isn't going to necessarily serve your name. So having content within your website, whether that's on your core website pages, on a blog post, or if even on a podcast, if you're going to put that like transcript into your website through a blog post, that is how you can start to show up within some of those AI search tools.
Oh gosh, I love this so much. And yeah, I use AI every day in my business like most
Mhm.
people do. And I think that's really helpful to know that even inside of the AI tools, they can recommend our businesses based off of how we've optimized our website, whether that's, like you said, on pages or on blog posts.
Mhm.
So, Kelly, I want to ask about like the work you do with your clients because somebody might be listening now and they're like, okay, I think I need Kelly's help. Can you talk us through your offers? Like, what do you actually help your clients with, and how does that work?
Yeah, so I have a few standalone offers where we work just on branding. So that would be your brand strategy and your brand visuals, the design, or just website or just SEO. My favorite offer is I call the full stack. Again, kind of going back to the whole waffle breakfast thing. And that includes all three of those because when they all work together, it really does make such a difference where you are really transforming what your business was and how it was represented before to now how it's being put out into the world. So that's probably my favorite and probably my most commonly sought offer.
Okay, fantastic. So, before we go, I'm going to ask you about like your contact details, and I'm definitely going to add that to the show notes. I have a question about branding and then Instagram. So, question is, like we've discussed, many of us we've DIY'd our business up until now, and we're like, okay, it's time to up level.
Mhm.
Okay, but then do you retrospectively go into the past Instagram post to like make it up to scratch, like to be in line with the new branding, or how does that work?
I usually don't. I think that that's like part of your business lifespan, that's gets to show the evolution of your business and that you have grown and changed. And it's normal to not start at this like peak point of, elevation. So I don't recommend people spend the time doing it. If you happen to have a team of, social media experts behind you that can go for it. But really, I say just start with the new branding moving forward. I even love to like put out a post or two of like, here is my new brand, just to show like this new stage of your business. And so let that be represented on your social media.
Wow, that's really beautiful because it's going to be a lot of work to go back to change everything. So I like that we can leave it as a snapshot of how we've grown, right? So the people can
Mhm.
go back and say, "Oh my gosh, Joy has actually grown from where
Yes.
she was to where she is today." Okay, Kelly, I know you have some amazing special gifts for our listeners. Can you tell us about some of those you are offering us today?
Yeah, so I offer a free website evaluation. So you can sign up through that. I'll give Joy the link, of course. And when you sign up there, you'll get a video evaluation from me where I go through and take a look at your website. I let you know kind of what your brand is giving off now, the overall strategy and layout of your website, any feedback there. And then I also go in and take a look at your SEO to let you know, where are you currently ranking for keywords? What kind of traffic are you getting? And some suggestions for improving that part as well.
Amazing. So I'm gonna have all those links in the show notes. Kelly, I have a very pressing question I have to ask you before I let you go. How are you able to look so amazing and still be a mom? Because I know you're a busy mom as well. So how are you able to marry your busy mom life with running a successful business?
Well, thank you. But like full transparency, I'm wearing pajama bottoms right now. So my life is not all put together. It is definitely a balance. My husband helps a lot, of course, and then we also use childcare. So I'm a mom to three boys, 11 at this time, almost four, and two. So it is definitely chaos and it is busy here, but that's really the biggest reason of why I started my business so that I do have the flexibility to, be a mom when I want to be and need to be, and also get to do something I'm really passionate about, like helping other business owners grow their businesses. So thank you. But
That's so beautiful. Because like, you just have this zen look about you, like even on your Instagram, like I want to say you have this kind of desirable, like people will desire to be like you, the way you've structured your business. And I think it's a good thing for other women because most of my listeners, I think over 92% of people who listen to this podcast are women who are building their businesses online. So I always like to spotlight people who are doing it successfully. Like you said, it's a balancing act, right?
Hmm.
There are many times in my videos where I wear pajama bottoms because, like, in school, people can only see from our top up.
Yep.
So, like, amazing. It's good to relate to other women and how other women are building their businesses. And that's why I'm so grateful that you're here to help us with branding today. So then how can people take this to the next level? So people are listening and they're like, oh my gosh, I need Kelly's help. What do they do next?
I would start with my website evaluation. And then from there, let's book a call and talk through what kind of is holding you back in your business right now and figure out the best way that we could move forward together. So, like I said, Joy will have that link, but you can, of course, always find me on Instagram as well. I'm at Kelly Ryan Co. Ryan with two N's. It's actually how the name is spelled. I didn't just make it up. But and then my website is also kellyryan.com.
So beautiful. Thank you so much, Kelly. It's been a joy having you on the show. And I want to do an Instagram live with you as well because I want my audience on Instagram to also know about you. So I'm gonna definitely get that booked
Okay.
um sometime next week.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so nice to meet you.
Hey, very quickly before you go, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending time with me today. I hope today's episode gave you something powerful to add to your business toolbox, something you can come back to anytime you need a little extra motivation in your business. If you loved today's episode, the best way you can support me and the show is to leave me a review and also to share this with an incredible businesswoman like yourself. And if you're ready to create consistent 10K months with ease and alignment, I invite you to apply to join my 6 months mastermind. Visit joyrowland.com to book your free complimentary discovery call. I cannot wait to help you step into your next level. Until next time, stay aligned, stay confident, and keep creating joyful money. Bye for now.